Hello, everyone, and welcome to my TED Talk. Uh, just kidding. My name is Rob Taylor, and today I'm going to be talking to you about an intervention on the campus at University of Hawaii at Hilo. And today's topic is going to be the intervention in increasing the prevalence of male reporting in conjunction to sexual abuse, more specifically sexual abuse that occurred in their past, but it can be applied to all sexual abuse. And let's get into it. So why is this an issue? I don't really think that it's really needs to be spoken. I don't need to explain it to you too in depth. It's pretty clear to see why not reporting sexual abuse could be an issue. But 16% of men who 16% of men have reported they were sexually abused. But this statistic it's a gross underestimation because there are societal norms, specifically descriptive norms and injunctive norms in our society, which are subliminal and liminal, that state that men should be leaders. They should be dominant. They should never be someone who has been dominated or someone who has been a victim. So these norms keep men from talking about what has happened to them. However, this can be detrimental because first and foremost, abuse leads to abuse, especially when it isn't talked about. And I cited a study by Whittam and Ames down there, which talks about how they followed a number of children that had been sexually abused, and they did like what do you call that kind of study? A longitudinal study where they followed these children, and they saw that children who had been sexually abused in conjunction to ones who hadn't been were more likely to be arrested in later life for sexual abuse. Not to mention, sexual abuse in childhood has been correlated with worsened health, mentally and physically in later years, in adult years. And so this is the first step to disclosing that you have been sexually abused, or to disclosing that a man has been sexually abused, is the first step into getting help to better their mental health, their physical health, and ultimately the health of their relationships and the relationships with their children, so forth. So yeah, this is just kind of furthering on why that was important. Sexual abuse is known to lead to trauma. I mean, that's a no-brainer. It's pretty easy to see that if you were abused sexually, you're more likely to have some problems with your mental health and your mental perception. With relationship health, physical and mental health. And so I've got a statistic in this, but reporting and seeking therapy and seeking help is known to show a correlation in better health and relationships, better relationships with your children, your family, which is ultimately what really matters in life, in my opinion. So how will this study work? How are we going to get men to report that they have been sexually abused? Well, what we'll do is we'll email a wide population of the university students, everybody in the university, and faculty as well, because this can be included into all men. It doesn't need to just be students. But we'll begin with questions like, did you know that reporting childhood or adult sexual abuse leads to a better quality of life? And these statistics that I'm drawing from come from a study that was published in the Journal of Interpersonal Violence in 2018. And it found that male survivors of childhood sexual abuse who had disclosed their abuse were more likely to seek help than those who didn't. And another study published in the Journal of Child Sexual Abuse in 2019 found that male survivors of child sexual abuse who received support and treatment had better mental health outcomes, including lower levels of anxiety and depression than those who did not receive support. So we'll start with a question that says, did you know that reporting childhood and or sexual or adult sexual abuse leads to a better quality of life? And then that question will be followed by other leading questions, such as correlations between their mental health and the mental health of their children, the mental health of their friends, and eventually it will lead to a question that would say, if you had a friend who had been sexually abused and you knew that it would benefit them to talk about it, would you encourage them to do so? And then finally, we will say, have you experienced sexual abuse in your life? And we'll give a couple questions before that, kind of painting the picture of what sexual abuse looks like. This will be an anonymous survey. People will know that it is anonymous, and they will be given the option to not participate if they feel uncomfortable. So why will this approach work? Why are men going to tell me or tell this study that they've been sexually abused when we see that 16%, which is about one, well, what would that be? That'd be like 16%, right? Have said that they've been sexually abused. Well, first of all, it'll be anonymous, and people are more likely to disclose personal attributes about their lives, especially more intimate details and more vulnerable details when it's an anonymous survey. However, there's another theory that's going to help us in this approach. And this is a theory that I've just recently learned about, but it is a powerful theory in social psychology. And this is the theory of planned behavior. And the theory of planned behavior essentially posits that there are three attributes which influence the engagement of a behavior. Well, first, behavior is influenced by our intentions, but our intentions are influenced by our attitudes, the negative or positive feelings we have toward a behavior. Another attribute, which is called, and I know this one, essentially it's social pressure, but it's subjective norms. That's the name of it. Social pressure that comes from, peers, which influences someone to behave in a certain way. And then another one is the perceived control over the behavior. Can they control themselves into performing the behavior? So this theory is going to help us. And it's going to help us by stating the first question that we had put in the first question that we put in the survey, which says, are you aware that men who have disclosed sexual abuse are more likely to have a better quality of life than those who don't? And we're drawing from those two surveys, studies that I talked about previously. Okay, so we're going to get them to have a positive association with disclosing sexual abuse. Okay, and then another factor that we're going to do is just also remind them that by disclosing them, or by reminding them that by saying that if you had a friend who had been sexually abused, would you encourage them to do so? And I'm imagining that the people are going to be saying yes. And if they say yes, we can remind them in a study that says, not with a study, but we can encourage them by saying that in today's day and age, it is more encouraged that people come out to talk about sexual abuse than it was previously. Okay, and then the third factor being control. They have control over their behavior and whether they want to act upon it. And since they have a positive attitude associated with disclosing it, they're going to be more likely to disclose this behavior. And these are some examples that give us some power into reinforcement of the theory of planned behavior. So one study by Armitage and Connor created an intervention which increased condom use in, I believe it was college students, by getting them to associate condom use with positive attitudes, by telling them all of the positive benefits of using condoms and reminding them that it's a socially encouraged behavior. And then there's another one by Sheeran and Orbell, who had an intervention which increased the intention of adults to quit smoking by again reminding them and getting them to flip their attitudes about smoking. And it showed a positive increase in the intention to quit. Another one by Stedman and Queen showed an intervention in increasing recycling behavior by adults. And another one by Godin and Koch, increased physical activity in sedentary adults. So this is just showing us that the theory of planned behavior is a very powerful tool into getting people to do something that is positive for not only themselves, but the world around them, by just reminding them how powerful that behavior is and how good it is for them. And how are we going to measure our success? Well, we're going to measure our success by running a t-test. We're going to do a little statistics. We're going to run a t-test comparing the data of other studies in reporting male sexual abuse against our method of using the theory of planned behavior. So this is a new approach, and we're going to compare the mean reporting from another population against ours, and we're going to use a t-table, and we'll find out what the criteria that we'll be needing to find a significant increase. Now, this is a reminder that while we know that an increase in reporting will lead to an increase in mental health, this intervention that we're creating is specifically to increase the reporting of male sexual abuse. We're not focusing on whether or not that increased their mental health, even though that will be a positive effect of the study. And you know what? We've actually listed on here, maybe we will go back just for good times to ask them later down the line if this helped them, if it helped them, and we'll measure using a dependent means t-test their level of happiness. We'll include that in the survey against their level of happiness 2 weeks after the fact. And maybe we'll go a little bit longer. Maybe we'll go a month. Maybe we'll go 6 months. And we'll just find out whether they're happier before or afterwards. So first, we're going to look at whether they disclosed it and then how it affected them. And here we have all of the references for the intervention that we're going to be using. So I hope that this has shown you that the theory of planned behavior is a powerful theory in social psychology, and that it can be used by changing the attitude of the person around the behavior that we're wanting to change, and then also by using subjective norms, influencing them from a little positive social pressure, and then reminding them that they have the power and the control to change the behavior that they need. Thank you for coming to watch me. My name is Rob Taylor, and I hope you have a great day.